Welcome to Who Yelling Now? Season 6, Episode 5, titled Almost Human. Copyright Mackenzie. I am your host, Olga Foreign. Welcome in. Season 6 of Who Yelling Now asks a simple question. What are we becoming? Not what are we building, not what are we inventing, not even what we are accomplishing, but what are we becoming? Today, I'd like to ask another question. What does it actually mean to be human? Not biological, not legally, not philosophically, but truly, what does it mean to be human? For thousands of years, we have been building civilizations. We have witnessed laws, established governments, created economies, drawn borders, developed religions, and surrounded ourselves with rules designed to help us live together. One would think that after all this time, after all this progress, we would be closer than ever to becoming more humane. But are we? Or have we confused building a society with becoming human? Somewhere along the way, we began paying for the water that falls freely from the sky. We learned to own land that none of us brought into existence. We measure a person's worth by what they produce, what they own, what they achieve, and what they can afford. These aren't arguments. They're observations. Observations that make me wonder, have the choices we have made over thousands of years brought us closer to our humanity? Or have they quietly carried us further away from it? Perhaps being born human is simply the beginning. Perhaps becoming human is the journey. And if that's true, after all our progress, after all our knowledge, after all our civilizations, are we finally human? Or are we almost human? Perhaps before we answer that question, we should ask ourselves what we have always wanted from one another. Here is a poem I call Almost Wanted. I almost wanted to be alone. I almost wanted a mate. I almost wanted a family. I almost wanted a community. I almost wanted to know that my community could stand beside another's and together we would get along. But we didn't. I didn't always agree with the mate I wanted. I didn't always like the family I received. I didn't always understand the neighbors who surrounded me. And if truth be told, they didn't always understand me. So we created rules. We created laws. We created expectations. We created consequences. We created systems to help all our almost live beside one another, hoping that one day all our almost wants might finally learn to live together. Humane. I sometimes wonder if humanity wasn't something we were born with, what if it was something we had to earn? Imagine a world where everyone believed exactly that. Here is a story I call Almost Human: Godfrey's Arrival. When Godfrey was born into the Sooner family, everyone celebrated. His mother cried. His father laughed. His older sister Emma stood on the chair just to see him in the hospital. "Look," she whispered, "he's finally here." His grandfather smiled, though not as widely as everyone else. He simply nodded and said, "Welcome, little one. May you earn your place among us." No one in the room thought the words unusual. It was what every elder said to every newborn. After all, everyone understood the same truth. A child was not born human. A child was born with the opportunity to become one. As Godfrey grew, he noticed the words were everywhere, carved into school walls, painted inside buses, etched into park benches, printed on grocery bags, stitched into the colors of children's jackets. Words such as compassion, mercy, kindness, justice, truth, humility, forgiveness, community. Every morning before class, the children stood together, not to pledge allegiance to a flag, not to sing an anthem, but to recite the principles of humanity. No one questioned them. Everyone wanted to become human. One afternoon, when Godfrey was about 8 years old, he asked his teacher, "When do we become human?" The classroom became quiet. The teacher smiled. "When others experience your humanity more often than your selfishness." Godfrey frowned. "So, is there a birthday? No. A ceremony? No. A test?" The teacher looked around the room. "Every day." As he grew older, he noticed something strange. The kindest people seemed brighter. Not brighter in spirit, brighter to the eye. His grandmother almost seemed surrounded by light. People smiled when she entered a room. Children ran towards her. Birds landed near her feet. Even silence seemed comfortable beside her. Then there were others, people no one seemed to notice. Conversations drift past them. Doors quietly closed before they arrived. Their photographs looked faded. Godfrey asked his father, "Why?" His father answered carefully, "They've stopped becoming." "What happens then?" His father looked away. "They slowly cease to exist." Godfrey laughed. "You mean they die?" His father shook his head. "No, much worse. people simply stopped remembering them. Years passed. Godfrey became a husband, a father, a neighbor. Some days he was patient, other days he was not. He forgave, then held grudges. He gave generously, then selfishly protected what was his. Every night before sleeping, he looked into the small mirror every citizen received at birth. The mirror of humanity never judged. It only reflected who you were becoming. Some evenings, his reflection appeared vivid. Other nights, slightly transparent. Not because he had failed, because tomorrow still mattered. One evening, while walking with his granddaughter, she asked, "Grandpa, have you become human yet?" Godfrey stopped. He looked at the people walking past. Some hurried, some helped strangers, some ignored them, some argued, some laughed, some carried burdens no one else could see. Finally, he smiled. "I don't think so." She squeezed his hands. "Will you?" Godfrey looked towards the setting sun. "I hope not." She tilted her head. "Why?" "Because if one day I believe I've finally become completely human, I'll probably stop trying." The little girl smiled. They continued walking, still becoming, still almost human. If becoming human is a lifelong journey, perhaps each of us already knows the one thing that still keeps us from arriving. For me, it might be this. Here is a poem of why I might still be on my journey for a while to becoming human. I titled this poem, Mercy. If it wasn't for mercy, I would have already become human. Yet mercy seems forever beyond my reach. Is it because it was never given to me? Is it because I have never witnessed what one act of mercy can do for humankind? I have mastered anger. I have entertained revenge. I have rehearsed justice until it became punishment. Yet, mercy? Mercy refuses to obey me. It arrives only when I surrender my need to be right. Without mercy, I may become successful. I may become respected. I may become feared. I may even become remembered. But I will never become what I have always dreamed of becoming. Human. My loyal, dearest listeners, perhaps humanity has never been something we achieve once. Perhaps it is something we choose every single day. Today, we ask the question that has no finish line. What does it mean to be human? Not to be born human, not to look human, not even to belong to the human race, but to become human. For thousands of years, we have built civilizations, written laws, created governments, established religions, drawn borders, accumulated wealth, and called it progress. perhaps it is. Perhaps it isn't. The better question may be this: has any of it brought us closer to becoming more humane? Or have we simply become better at organizing ourselves while remaining almost human? I don't know the answer. What I do know is this: every generation seems to inherit the same opportunity to choose compassion over cruelty, mercy over revenge, understanding over judgment, community over isolation, love over hate. Not because someone wrote those words on a wall, but because at some point each of us must decide whether they will become more than words. Perhaps humanity is not a destination waiting for us. Maybe it is a choice we make again and again and again, until the day someone no longer asks, "What are we becoming?" but quietly notices, "Look how human we have become." Thank you for joining me for another episode of Who Yelling Now? Tell a friend, subscribe, leave a comment. I am Olga Foreign. Until next time, take care of yourself, take care of one another, and keep asking, "Who yelling now?" See you in the next episode.